My sister reconnected with our parents after they abandoned her and forbade me from going to her baby shower, but her husband invited me so I could tell the whole truth. When I was 18, my mom and dad packed up and left. They've always been a bit unstable, but I didn't think they'd go this far. I had just graduated, was working full-time at a grocery store, and they left me and my 12-year-old sister Anna at home with almost nothing. They told us they were going to settle in, and that they would tell us where they were, so we could go with them later. But that never happened. At first, I thought about calling Child Protective Services or trying to get help through an official channel, but I knew how that would end. They would separate us. They would probably take Anna to foster homes, and God knows what would happen to her. So I made a decision. I stayed, took on extra shifts, and dropped out of the community college I was planning to attend. My life became about work and making sure Anna was okay. That was all. It wasn't easy, and I'm not trying to make myself look like some kind of saint. There were times when I felt resentful, tired, and angry, especially watching people our age living normal lives while I tried to figure out how to pay for food and the things a girl needs in school. But I did it. I kept a roof over our heads. I gave up a lot of things so Anna wouldn't have to. I helped her finish school, apply to college, co-signed loans, and helped her move into her dorm. I wasn't just her older sister. I was a kind of mother to her. When she graduated and moved into her own place, I thought maybe we'd start being just sisters again, that maybe the worst was over. And for a while, it was fine. We stayed close. I never held my sacrifices against her, nor did I make her feel like she owed me anything. I just wanted her to live the life I couldn't. Now, Anna is an adult. She has a job, is in a relationship with a man, and is about 6 months pregnant. A couple of months ago, we were talking about the baby shower. I was helping her plan it. Then she started to withdraw, not answering messages, canceling meetings. I thought she was overwhelmed, tired, or just stressed about everything. I don't know, but something wasn't right. Turns out she reconnected with our parents. I didn't even find out from her. I found out from a cousin who saw them all together at a brunch. I confronted Anna, and she admitted it was true. She said they reached out and she wanted to give them a chance, that she wanted to start over and let them be a part of the baby's life. I told her she could do whatever she wanted, but she had to be careful, and she told me I was being negative and stuck in the past. She then told me that I was no longer invited to the baby shower because it was going to be a positive family event and she didn't want any drama. I don't think I've ever felt that kind of betrayal before. I raised this girl. I gave up everything to make sure she didn't have to sacrifice her life like I did. And now she doesn't care about this and uninvites me as if it were nothing. I think the reason is that she doesn't want to tell people the truth, that her parents abandoned her and her older sister, and that I stepped in and became a mom for 6 years while they did whatever they were doing. No, let them act like they've always been in her life, like they've always supported her. It would have been one thing if she had said she wanted to give them a chance and forgive them. That's her decision, not mine. I know I don't want to do that, but I'm not going to force her. However, leaving me at the first opportunity because they came back, I see that as a betrayal. I worked 2 jobs so she could stay in her dorm and not come back to a freezing apartment with no food. I took out loans just to cover her textbooks for 1 semester. And now these 2 so-called parents act like they did something. I contacted her again and told her that was crossing a line. She basically told me that if I really cared about her, I should let her have this moment and not bring up the past, that it wasn't about me. And I guess that's what really bothers me, realizing that she saw me as just a ticket to the good life, but now that she has it, that she has a steady relationship and a baby on the way, she doesn't need me anymore. I never expected a big reward or recognition, but I didn't think it would erase me. I didn't think she'd treat me like a bitter ex-family member just trying to cause trouble. She used to call me when she had a bad day. Now she doesn't even tell people I exist. I even heard someone at her work ask if she had siblings, and she said no. The final straw for me was hearing that our parents are now taking credit for raising us, telling people they made some mistakes but ultimately got us through. I can't stand that. I can't pretend that didn't happen. And if Anna is going to let them feed a lie to create an image that seems better than the real one, then I don't care anymore. I haven't contacted her again, but I'm seriously considering texting her boyfriend, Elian. I think he would at least listen. Maybe he doesn't even know the real story. I'm not trying to destroy his life or sabotage his relationship, but I think he deserves to know what kind of family he's getting into, and I honestly want at least one person in that circle to know the truth. So, would I be a horrible person if I told him? Update 1. I ended up sending a message to Elian, Anna's boyfriend, for those who don't know yet. I didn't want to drag him into something that wasn't his, but at the same time I felt like he deserved to know who these people really were before they were given the good parent version. So I just texted him and asked if we could meet up for coffee. I told him it was about family matters. He didn't ask too many questions, just said, "Sure, tell me the place and time." We'll meet up the next day. We met up the next day. I told him everything, including how they didn't even say goodbye to Anna. They just left a note and left. I still have the note, by the way. It's vague and full of nonsense, like, "We'll come back when things get resolved." Things never got resolved, or maybe it was resolved that we weren't important in their lives. When I was done, he said he had a hunch something wasn't right. According to him, Anna had told him that our parents had always been in the background, just too busy to be constantly around, that they were struggling financially but kept in touch, that they supported her however they could. It was such a weird thing to hear. I honestly laughed, not because it was funny, but because I didn't even know she'd rewritten it so much. And Elian could see I wasn't really laughing. He just said something like, "I figured there was more to it than that." He said he appreciated me being honest and that he wasn't going to start a fight or anything, just talk to Anna. I told him that was all I wanted. I didn't need him to fix it, just to know what really happened. Anna showed up at my house 2 days later. I knew from the second I saw her face that it wasn't going to be a friendly visit. She was furious. She told me I was trying to sabotage her family, that I always wanted her to hate our parents. She said I was manipulative and playing the victim to gain sympathy, that I needed everyone to see me as their savior, to feel better about my life. I only asked her one thing. Why are you letting people believe things that aren't true? Her response was, they want to be a part of my life, and I want to have real parents. I don't see myself as her mother, but I certainly acted like one and made sacrifices like one, even though I didn't strictly need to. It's impossible to know, but sometimes I think, with all this going on, what would have happened if I called Child Protective Services? She said maybe I needed therapy. I told her maybe she needed a reality check. Eventually, she stormed off. I wasn't going to stop her. After she left, I kept thinking about what she said, especially about me having a savior complex or trying to control her. And I'll be honest, it made me wonder why. Honestly, yes, I was strict as a teenager. I was a kid trying to act like a mother, and I probably overcorrected. She didn't go out to parties or anything, but I was tough on her about grades, assignments, about staying safe because I was afraid of losing her too. I didn't have any kind of role model. Our parents were never really there, even before they left. And when they left, I was just winging it. I never asked to be her mother. I just didn't see any other option, and maybe I made some choices that were more out of fear than love, but I was always there for her. I don't think being permissive would have helped either. I think she'd be worse off now. If she has an education and a good life, it's thanks to her efforts and mine, but she seems to forget that last part. I also keep thinking about Elian, what he must be thinking now that he knows both versions of the story. I haven't heard from him since Anna came, but I wouldn't blame him if he's handling it carefully. I know I made mistakes, but I was there when it mattered. When she was crying because she didn't understand why Mom and Dad weren't coming back, when she was scrounging through the couch cushions for food money, when she graduated high school and I clapped louder than anyone because I felt like we'd made it together. Anyway, I don't think there's any way to fix things with Anna. It's not like I can just overlook her betrayal and carry on as if nothing happened. Because I'm very clear on one thing. My parents haven't changed, even though I haven't seen them, and they're likely to let her down again. But she's all grown up now, and I'm not going to be there for her. My homework is done. Update 2. One of my old school friends texted me after the baby shower. We haven't spoken in a while, but she was close with Anna growing up, and she still keeps in touch. She was invited to the baby shower, and she was able to tell me a few things that happened. She told me that our parents were there acting like they were the proudest grandparents in the world. That didn't surprise me. What did surprise me was what they were saying. Apparently, they've been telling this whole story, that I was a difficult teenager who ran away from home when I turned 18, making Anna's life difficult. They claimed they were there for her, and that I was nothing but a difficult person who came in and out of her life, hurting her every chance I got. It's something they can easily tell because part of my sister's group are people she bonded with when she went off to college, people I've never met. A perfect group of listeners for my parents to change the story of what they did. Only my friend and Elian knew any of this, but that didn't help much either. Both my friend and Elian tried to say something, but my sister silenced them. Elian contacted me the morning after the baby shower. He apologized. He said he didn't know they would go that far. He said he tried to intervene when he heard them talking, but Anna pulled him aside to say a few things. She told him he was making things worse, and that he was trying to disrespect his parents by embarrassing them. They eventually argued, and he ended up going back home, leaving my sister there. My friend also left when my sister told her to shut up. It doesn't change anything in my life that these people I don't know think this about me or believe my parents, but it does hurt that my own sister does. If the roles were reversed, I would owe my sister everything. I would never have reconnected with my parents after what they did, and I would be the first person to shut them up because I would be so grateful. But realizing I sacrificed so many things I won't get back, is what hurts the most. Even my partner tells me that all of this is eating away at me because he sees me sad, depressed, and low on energy. But all I can think about is that I had plans, and I couldn't follow through. I don't know if I would have done much differently in my life, but I wish I had tried, had gone to the community college and gained some knowledge. And up until now, I thought I did it for a noble reason. That's why it hurts so much. Elian said he's going to talk to Anna again. He doesn't agree with what's going on, but he also said she's completely shut down. I don't know what he expects to come out of this. And honestly, I don't expect much. I don't think it will make much of a difference. I just wish she would admit the truth out loud. And I wish she'd at least stop letting our parents lie about the years I sacrificed to make sure she had a future. I'm sorry I'm thinking about this so much, but it's all I can think about lately. It's the thought that being good is the worst decision I could have made. If I had really been a bad sister, like I seem to be now, at least I'd have a good life. It's like karma is attacking me instead of my parents, or that karma doesn't exist and that in life, bad people get what they don't deserve. Update 3. I wasn't planning on going. I told myself that I was done after everything that happened, that I needed a mental break from all of this. But then Elian messaged me again, about a week after the baby shower, apologizing for how things went down and saying he wanted to talk. I mostly ignored him, but figured there wasn't anything worse he could say, or anything else that would affect me more. We met at a restaurant for lunch because it was the most convenient thing for both of us. He looked tired, and not just from the normal tiredness of expecting a baby. He told me that things with Anna had been a mess since that day, that things exploded between them after that. Apparently, Elian told her he didn't want his son to grow up watching her fight with his sister all the time, and that he wished she'd handled everything differently. He then asked me if I would come to a dinner party Elian's mom was hosting for some family members and close friends, sort of like a continuation of the baby shower, but smaller and quieter. He said he thought it was time people heard the truth about how Anna was really raised, that I didn't have to go if I didn't want to, but that if I did, he would back me up. At first I thought it was a trap, but something about the way Elian said it felt sincere, like he was really going to support me through all of this. My intention wasn't to go to show Anna the truth. She knows this very well. But I needed to get it off my chest and say a few things because everything that was happening felt unfair, and I couldn't keep silent anymore. Dinner was held at Elian's mom's house. There were about 12 of us there. There were some of Anna's friends, her brothers-in-law, and some older family friends. My parents were already there when I arrived. They looked at me sideways. Halfway through dinner, Elian mentioned it. He said something about how proud he was of Anna, but that it was important to acknowledge how she got to where she was. Then he asked me if I minded telling everyone what it was like after our parents left. It gave me the perfect cue to say everything I needed to get out. I said that when I was 18 years old, they packed up and moved to another state without warning and left Anna with me. I said I didn't go to college, worked 2 jobs, and made sure she stayed in school. We went to therapy, she graduated, and had a future. I said our parents were absent for years, 6 of which I became a mom to her. There were no visits, no phone calls, no birthday cards. They were just gone. Anna's mom, who I don't consider my mother and who seems to agree, interjected with a comment about how that wasn't entirely true. But I told her to shut up, like she used to tell me to for years, because the adults were talking, and she never behaved like one. Update 2. One of my old school friends texted me after the baby shower. We haven't spoken in a while, but she was close with Anna growing up, and she still keeps in touch. She was invited to the baby shower, and she was able to tell me a few things that happened. She told me that our parents were there acting like they were the proudest grandparents in the world. That didn't surprise me. What did surprise me was what they were saying. Apparently, they've been telling this whole story, that I was a difficult teenager who ran away from home when I turned 18, making Anna's life difficult. They claimed they were there for her, and that I was nothing but a difficult person who came in and out of her life, hurting her every chance I got. It's something they can easily tell because part of my sister's group are people she bonded with when she went off to college, people I've never met. A perfect group of listeners for my parents to change the story of what they did. Only my friend and Elian knew any of this, but that didn't help much either. Both my friend and Elian tried to say something, but my sister silenced them. Elian contacted me the morning after the baby shower. He apologized. He said he didn't know they would go that far. He said he tried to intervene when he heard them talking, but Anna pulled him aside to say a few things. She told him he was making things worse and that he was trying to disrespect his parents by embarrassing them. They eventually argued, and he ended up going back home, leaving my sister there. My friend also left when my sister told her to shut up. It doesn't change anything in my life that these people I don't know think this about me or believe my parents, but it does hurt that my own sister does. If the roles were reversed, I would owe my sister everything. I would never have reconnected with my parents after what they did, and I would be the first person to shut them up because I would be so grateful. But realizing I sacrificed so many things I won't get back, is what hurts the most. Even my partner tells me that all of this is eating away at me because he sees me sad, depressed, and low on energy. But all I can think about is that I had plans, and I couldn't follow through. I don't know if I would have done much differently in my life, but I wish I had tried, had gone to the community college and gained some knowledge. And up until now, I thought I did it for a noble reason. That's why it hurts so much. Elian said he's going to talk to Anna again. He doesn't agree with what's going on, but he also said she's completely shut down. I don't know what he expects to come out of this. And honestly, I don't expect much. I don't think it will make much of a difference. I just wish she would admit the truth out loud. And I wish she'd at least stop letting our parents lie about the years I sacrificed to make sure she had a future. I'm sorry I'm thinking about this so much, but it's all I can think about lately. It's the thought that being good is the worst decision I could have made. If I had really been a bad sister, like I seem to be now, at least I'd have a good life. It's like karma is attacking me instead of my parents, or that karma doesn't exist and that in life, bad people get what they don't deserve. I told her, disappearing from your children's lives is totally true, and there's no nuance or nonsense that can be softened. It was a choice, and it's not my problem if she's filled with shame now that everyone here, even parents like Anna's in-laws, see what kind of garbage parents they are. Elian's parents kept asking Elian if any of this was true, and he kept saying yes. I also said that Anna was ungrateful, that she didn't appreciate anything I did, and that she valued a pair of horrible human beings who left her at only 12 years old more than her sister, who gave her everything she had and more. Parents who, by the way, had no responsibility, sentimental, paternal, or financial, for their youngest daughter. This made my parents a little nervous, and they should be because I'm talking to a lawyer about my case. Anna didn't say much, not even to her husband. She didn't defend them, but she didn't defend me either. She just kept her head down and said that she didn't want to argue about the past and that she didn't want her baby to grow up surrounded by fights, which is what she supposedly knew would happen if our parents were around her son. After that, dinner was practically over. People started making excuses to leave early. Elian's mom hugged me as I left and told me she was happy I came. It seems like the strangest thing, but it was the most motherly thing I've ever received, and from someone I barely knew. Anna barely looked at me as I left, but I don't regret coming. I said what I had to say, what I wanted my sister to hear, and that's all that matters to me. I don't know where things go from here. I'm tired. I've spent more than half my life trying to maintain a relationship that clearly doesn't matter to Anna the way it does to me. Elian hasn't said much since. I know that what he did and how he did it must have caused problems in his marriage. I feel sorry for Elian, knowing what he did must have caused problems in his marriage. But I don't feel sorry for my sister. I feel sorry for him that his marriage is having problems, but I don't feel sorry that his marriage is with her. She's a woman who conveniently forgets years to make a profit for herself. I'm not in Elian's head right now, but he must be thinking the same thing. If he hadn't done what he did, he wouldn't have given me the reason for things to happen the way they did. Edit. Yes, I'm in talks with a lawyer. I can file a claim for back child support. It won't bring me back the lost time, but if I can recoup some of the money, it will make all the difference. Update 4. Anna contacted me about 2 weeks after dinner. At first, it was just a text. She just said, "Do you want to meet up?" I thought about it for a while before responding, but I realized that accepting would be like going back to old habits of being available as soon as she needed something. I told her if she had a problem right now, she could go to her parents. She told me it was nothing like that, and that she really needed to tell me something. So I agreed to meet for 15 minutes at a park near my house. I also needed her to return some sweaters I'd lent her over the years. She admitted that she didn't know how to handle everything, that seeing our parents again did something to her, made her feel like maybe things could be fixed, even if it meant lying to herself about what really happened. She said she didn't expect it to go this far, and that by the time she realized how tangled everything was, she didn't know how to backtrack without making her look like the bad guy. I told her half-baked excuse or apology wasn't moving me, that it made no difference to everything I'd done. She didn't argue, nor did she defend herself. She just said she was so sorry she'd hurt me, that she'd let herself get caught up in trying to build something new without first facing the old. She said she was afraid of being seen as weak or needy, that admitting to herself what our parents did made her feel like that abandoned child, left behind and dependent. I told her I understood, but that it didn't excuse turning her back on the one person who never left. She asked if we could start over. I said, "No, that's not going to happen. You showed me that I shouldn't trust people, and it's going to take me a long time to heal from that. Someday I'll trust someone again, but I'm sure that someone won't be you. I'm not going back to that role where I take on the burden while others are either the victims or the heroes, depending on the audience." Then I asked her to give me the bag where she had my things, and I left. The baby was born a few days ago. I wasn't at the hospital, but Elian texted me the next day and said I could come by if I wanted. He's still my nephew, but I don't know if I want to meet him. I don't want that to be a way to soften me up so that I'll accept my sister again. Elian knows this and told me he understood, that he only asked if I wanted to do it. I've also been talking to him, and he says that although he's still with Anna, he's considering divorce. Until now, I was sleeping in the guest room, which explains why Anna contacted me. Perhaps accepting that what she did was wrong will help her repair her relationship with Elian. I've already made my decision, even if her apologies were genuine, but I can't think for Elian. The lawsuit is almost ready, and we are about to file it to officially sue my parents. I don't know how long these things will take, but my plan is not to update again unless something very important happens before it's completed. Update 5. I can't predict the future. I don't know what the lottery numbers will be, but I was always sure that my parents would abandon my sister again. It would be criminal not to think so when they are the kind of parents they have always been. It was the safest bet. And if I could bet on that and win millions, I wouldn't be writing here, I guess. But more than that has happened in these months. I have sued and won the lawsuit. My parents have had to pay a sum close to $50,000. It's good that their lives improved financially when they left us, because that allowed them to pay, even if it meant mortgaging their house again. And I've already been spending some of that money, not in Las Vegas to take advantage of my new fortune-telling skills, but to make up for my lost years. I'm in my early 30s now, and many have tried to cheer me up in other posts by telling me I wasn't too old to be going to college. Maybe I'm not, but back then, I was too poor to afford even a community college. However, this lawsuit, which included compensation for my lost opportunities caused by having to care for my sister, has given me a second chance. I'm going to save the rest while using part of it to pay for my studies. I hope that when I graduate, I'll not only have a better job and a better future, but also enough savings left to make a down payment on a house or apartment. My sister is divorced and shares custody of her son with Elian. I believe Elian filed for divorce a week after I last posted. I don't know what I can tell you about that. It was a divorce, and that's it. Elian's reasons were the ones I've already mentioned, the fear that she might do the same to him in the future. Happy years of marriage don't matter to someone like my sister. The day she thinks cheating is okay and justified, she'll forget about it all. And if it's not that, it could be hundreds of other things. In any case, this decision was not influenced by me. We never talked about his idea of getting divorced beyond him telling me he was thinking about it, and then when he had already made the decision. And my parents ran away as soon as I filed the lawsuit. But the lawsuit doesn't disappear if you move to another state. It just makes you look worse, like you're running away from your responsibilities. They had to return for some appointments anyway. It doesn't make up for lost time. I could be married, have a child, and have a much better life. But at the same time, I've been working through my feelings with someone, and I'm starting to see the light of day. I feel optimistic about everything that has happened and my possibilities from now on. Now I have my future in my hands. I'm the only one who can change things, and I plan to do it. Update 6. It all started 4 years ago when I wrote my first post. My life has changed so much in these years. I'm even closer to the life I would have had if it weren't for my sister. I've been married for 4 months, but there are no plans for a baby yet, because I still have a few classes left to finish my degree at the community college I'm attending. The good news is that I now have a job related to my field of study and a better salary, so my life is heading in the direction I wanted, even if it's a few years later. I still don't have a relationship with my sister or my parents, and that's how I want it. The distance between us is so great that I haven't heard anything from them. Not even my friend, the one who went to the original baby shower, is still in touch with her. I've talked to Elian during this time, and he's dating someone now. But as far as my sister is concerned, we haven't talked about her at all. For me, it's a bad memory. A nightmare. But now I'm waking up and feeling much better.